Good evening again. My name's Vanessa. Thank you for joining us today and for showing up for yourself. So you're at the start of what could be a life-changing journey. I'll be your host today. I'm the head of sales and marketing for IBTC, the leading tuition provider in this space. We are renowned for our remarkable service and pass rates.
Welcome everyone to today's session. So my name is Muzis Tebe and I'm your co-host today. I'm a lecturer at IBTC and I've been at IBTC for 11 years now, helping students on their study journeys. Our programs are designed to get you to pass first time, or we stick with you until you do. Please note that we will have a Q&A session after the presentation where you're welcome to unmute yourself or post questions in the chat.
So, Muzi, last year was very exciting for CIMA. There was an unprecedented uptake of the new study path FLP. Now, I don't know if you remember in 2023, they introduced a new website with quite a few, let's say, teething problems, but things seem to have settled down. The only tricky part that remains is for students to register with CIMA correctly.
That's true, Vanessa. I think registering with CIMA is easy if you know what you're doing. But the truth is it's rather tricky as you don't always know what the questions mean, and that has a huge impact on where we start. So you don't want to get it wrong.
Indeed. Our sales advisors are now experts on helping students register on the CIMA website and to see what exemptions they may qualify for. So we in fact have one of our top sales advisors, Wahid. He is on the chat. So Wahid, do you want to put your email address for everyone? Wahid will be your best friend to help you with everything. We also have a direct line to the exemption team should your qualification not be on the website.
That sounds great, Vanessa. But listen, I know you all probably have some burning questions already, but we will cover exemptions later in the presentation. So kindly hold your questions until we reach that particular section.
Oh, well said, Muzi. So I know everyone's dying to know what level you're going to start at. Just remember, it's very distracting when everyone's trying to listen to the presentation and a whole lot of chats are flying through. So we will cover everything and I will stay on afterwards as long as you need to answer any questions. So just to let you know what we're going to cover tonight, a little bit why you should study CIMA. It's also a handy way to determine if it's the right qualification for you. We're going to look at the qualification framework, discuss entry routes, exemptions, and how to register. Then we're going to look at how you can study with IBTC, what options are available to you, and what works best. And we will end by taking some questions. The first thing we're going to do now is kick off with a poll to see who we have in the audience. On your screen, you'll see a quick poll which will help us determine where you are in your journey and how best to help you. Okay, I can see so far in the poll, it looks as though so far 80% of people are new to CIMA, which is fantastic. So this presentation tonight will hopefully give you a good understanding of CIMA. Okay, I'm just going to wait a couple of seconds, but it looks as though everyone has answered. So it looks like I can see that there's most of the people are new, so fantastic. And hopefully we will answer any questions that you have. Okay. Now that we're busy with a poll. We've just seen the poll results. It reminds me of a poll we recently did with our students community, Muzi. We wanted to know what is important to students. What are the top things they look for when choosing a college? And this is what the results say. First and foremost, students want support. Then it's accreditation, obviously with a college that is credited and is not going to close down. Third place is results. The college pass rate is so important. And the fourth most important thing to students is the quality of the material and tuition. Does this resonate with you, Muzi? Are you surprised to see what's important to our students?
No, Vanessa, I'm not surprised at all. When a student chooses to sign up with a college, they do so specifically because they want someone to help them and do so properly. Sometimes students feel they can do it on their own and save some money, and there are always a good number of students each and every semester who felt they could do it on their own, but after having failed their exams numerous times, they then decide to sign up for classes with IBTC. Ultimately, they found that signing up with a college really helped them to cut down on their study time and help them to stay on track.
Thanks, Muzi. We will help you from registration right through to graduation. So you can say we are on your side to your success.
So I'm keen to share this particular slide with you, Vanessa. We know that CIMA recommends Kaplan material, but we went against the grain and we're exclusively using BPP material. And that's because we simply get better pass rates with BPP. Is that right?
Yes, for sure.
So here we compare the global CIMA pass rate against the pass rates achieved by all students who use BPP resources. This includes IBTC students. So traditionally, your BA2 and P1 are known as very tricky subjects. As you can see, our students perform 20% better on BA2 and P1 than the global average. And you can see why we also consider ourselves to be case study experts. Whopping 92% pass rate at strategic level, and on average, our case study performance is 10 to 30% better than the global average.
So the truth is you are 60% more likely to pass with BPP and IBTC, and obviously with Muzi as your lecturer. So Muzi is CIMA for everyone.
Um, often students are wondering if they should do their honors next, or do CIMA, or do an MBA. They want to be sure that CIMA is the right career choice for them. The truth is that CIMA isn't necessarily for everybody. CIMA combines business and finance, like an MBA and psycho rolled into one. Generally, the rule that I follow is that if you like tax and auditing, then CIMA is not for you. If you enjoy business, performance, costs, then it could be right for you. A large part of financial accounting is looking back, dealing with transactions that already occurred in the past, whereas management accounting is looking forward, dealing with budgets and forecasts, pricing, future risk, and strategy.
Another reason to study CIMA is also that it's a professional qualification. You get an actual designation, the letters CGMA behind your name versus an academic qualification where you're awarded a diploma or a degree. I feel that a professional qualification offers you more opportunities and better value for money spent on studying.
Yes. Also, CIMA is a respected and well-known qualification across the globe. You can work around the world or right here for a global company. It's a very portable qualification, and in fact, 95% of the world's top brands employ CGMAs. This means that you are immensely employable.
Musi, tell me, if you look at the CIMA competency framework, do you feel it reflects the skills required in your job at APSA?
Yes, absolutely. You can see that there isn't just a focus on technical financial skills, but also on people skills, business skills, digital skills, and leadership skills. This competency framework is the foundation for your coursework and your exam, which is handy to know. To sum it up, why I like CIMA is that CIMA is really where business meets finance. It's a finance qualification and it's a business qualification. It's like being a CA with an MBA, which means you're competent at a lot of areas and you can play a multitude of roles as well. So here's a very good example. These are all the roles you can play as a CGMA. You see the C-suite roles, but also the non-financial roles, even marketing manager and strategic planning manager as an example. And you see the finance roles from analyst to financial controller. And then, of course, there are the consulting roles as well.
My previous boss was a CGMA and he started as an accountant. He then became the financial manager, then the CFO, and then he took operations under his wing. Then he moved to the marketing department and headed up the new business side of the business, which took him into Africa. He then returned to South Africa as a CEO. That's a full journey on the back of his CGMA designation.
Yeah, wow, that's really impressive. And I really love that example.
Muzi, did you know this that CIMA qualified students can now become CICA qualified?
Yes, Vanessa. They just have to complete the APCA exam, previously known as Board Exam 2. And then they will become dual qualified with an international qualification and a South African one.
Wow, impressive. Are there any conditions?
Yes. You have to be in good standing with CIMA. That is, having passed your strategic case study, completed PER, and have no outstanding fees owing, and have an accredited undergraduate degree that is recognized by SICA.
Wow, Muzi. Let's have a look at the CIMA qualification. The entry route to the professional qualification is open entry certificate level. The professional qualification consists of 3 levels and 3 pillars. The pillars are the enterprise pillar, which covers things like strategy, risk, HR, marketing. The performance pillar, which is the heart of CIMA, the management accounting, and the financial pillar, which is classic accounting or financial reporting. So, as I said, the enterprise pillar looks at business models, management of people and projects. This is where the strategy is formulated. You can almost say this is the MBA side of CIMA. Then the performance pillar, you will use your management accounting and risk management skills to ensure that the strategy developed in E is realistic and to monitor its implementation. It deals with costs, budgets, pricing, capital expenditure, and managing performance. Here you focus a lot on risk. You learn how to progressively identify, classify, evaluate, and manage risk. The financial pillar is focuses on financial accounting and reporting obligations of the organization. This includes regulatory framework and external reporting requirements. You are taught how to construct and evaluate complex financial statements to show the financial position and performance of the organization. Here you deal with business tax and the tax implication of financial decisions. And here you assess the risk identified in the performance pillar. Muzi, perhaps you can talk us through the subjects a bit. What can we expect in each subject per level?
Well, Vanessa, at the certificate level, in BA1, you'll deal with macro and microeconomics. BA2 deals with costing, planning, and control. This is really the introduction to management accounting. BA3 is the standard recording of financial transactions, preparing accounts, and analyzing financial statements. Here it's assumed that you have very limited financial background. BA4 deals with company administration, CSI, and legal things like employment contracts. Once you've passed all these subjects, you get the certificate in business accounting, which is an NQF5. When we move on to the operational level, we see E1 that covers big data, shared services, and also the traditional business functions like sales, marketing, HR, operations, and IT. In P1, here you really get into it, dealing with manufacturing, things like marginal costing, absorptions, costing, budgets, pricing, break-even analysis, and probability distributions. F1 has cash flow, inventory days, payables, receivables, tax, and preparing financial statements. Once you've passed all of these subjects, you write your operational case study and then get your CIMA Diploma in Management Accounting, which is an NQF6 qualification. And moving on to the management level. In E2, you'll see things like business models, project management, and managing people, like health and safety and negotiation strategies. P2 deals with managing costs, activity-based management, and just-in-time KPIs, and risk and control. In F2, you'll deal with preparing group accounts and IFRS statements, as well as integrated reporting. Once you've passed all of these, you write your management case study to get your CIMA Advanced Diploma in Management Accounting. And finally, at strategic level, you start thinking like a CFO. In E3, you'll see PESTEL SWOT, purpose, vision, value chain analysis, but all of these at a CFO or CEO level. And in P3, here you'll do a lot of risk. Risk maps, risk control, cyber risk, strategic risks, etc. In F3, you start looking at how to fund a business, how to take a business to the next level. You look at sources of long-term finance, mergers and acquisitions, and the like. On completion of your final case study, your academic component of your studies is done, and you just need to complete your proof of practical experience to then be awarded your CGMA designation.
Thanks, Muzi, for that overview. Let's have a look at the different routes to completing the CIMA qualifications. There are two routes, the traditional route, which is known as PQ, and the FLP route. On the PQ route, which stands for the professional qualification, you have to work through 13 subjects and sit 13 exams or objective tests. You also sit 3 case.
I think you've got on mute there, Vanessa. I can't hear you.
Sorry, someone muted me. Okay, so where did you hear up to, Muzi? Where do you want me to start over?
Are you just explaining the 13 competency and objective tests?
Okay, thanks. Yeah. Then you also sit 3 case study exams, and at the end of each of the professional levels. So 16 exams in total if you don't get any exemptions. You have 10 years to complete all your exams. On the traditional route, you prepare for your exam any way you want to. You can do it on your own. You can use a friend books, you can join a study group, or you can join a college like ourselves. You can study online, offline, classes, hybrid, it doesn't matter. When you are ready, simply book your exam. On the traditional route, you can buy 1 or 2 subjects at a time and buy your next subject once you've passed your previous subject. It's like a pay-as-you-go arrangement. Now, on the FLP route, you only have to do 3 case study exams. It means you don't have to sit the 13 OT exams. Instead of the exams, you do continuous assessments on EP&F, that is, answer questions throughout your studies online to prove your competence, and you only sit the case study exams at the end of each professional level. On FLP, you cannot study on your own using textbooks and sit the exam. You have to sign up onto the FLP platform through a tuition provider like ourselves, and then complete your competencies on the CIMA platform. On this FLP platform, you will get all your study material, and interspersed in your study material are activities and questions in lieu of the exams you don't have to do. You'll also find your case study prep material on this platform. On the FLP route, you pay for time. It's a subscription model, so you pay for all access to all of the study material across all the levels, and you have to study as much as you can in the time you bought. So, for example, if you bought a 1-year subscription, you must be dedicated and you'll have to work at a fast pace to achieve as many subjects as possible. Now, FLP is a big upfront cost, while the traditional PQ you pay as you go. Now, what do I recommend? On the traditional route, I feel you get more into the detail of the subjects. You learn more. It's probably because you're preparing for an exam. Because you know your subject content so well, your case study exam should technically be easier for you. With FLP, you don't write subjects exams. So chances are you may battle when it comes to the case study exam, but because it draws on the EP and F subject knowledge, you just don't have the same foundation knowledge. However, we have included case study prep classes for our FLP premium option to help you prepare. Ultimately, it's much of faster route, so it's a difficult decision, I imagine. What's important to know is whether you're on the traditional route or the FLP, you will both write the same case study exams. Muzi, may I ask you, which one do you prefer?
Well, Vanessa, what I like about FLP is that there are fewer exams and it looks like you'll be qualified faster. But what I like about the traditional route is that there's more rigor. You're doing this qualification to pick up skills, to learn more, and to work better. With PQ, I believe you'll learn more and your work performance will be better for it.
With each route, there's a pressure point. I think the FLP, the pressure point is at the case study exams because of the risk of not being familiar with the OT subjects as one needs to be.
And with the traditional route, the case study exam should be a lot easier for you. But the pressure points are the OT exams, which you have to pass first.
So, Muzi, it's a personal decision which route is best for you, right?
Absolutely. And a financial decision, of course. Traditional route is a bit lighter on the pocket, and you can also do it in small chunks, like one subject at a time. And FLP route is a big upfront capital layout.
That's right. Not to mention, you need to stay committed for the duration of your subscription period on FLP. Right, now we are on to what I'm sure you've all have burning questions, exemptions.
If you want to know what exemptions you can expect, listen closely. If we don't cover it in the next few slides, then post it in the chat and we can give it to you at the end of the presentation.
It's important to know that if you choose the traditional route or FLP, both routes start at the certificate level unless you successfully apply for exemption. So I mentioned that the exemptions process has changed. Exemptions are now awarded based on 3 criteria. Number 1, your professional qualification. So for instance, if you are a CIPA, IPA member, you will start on the management level. If you've completed your ICB, you will be on the operational level. There's a special arrangement with SICA where you just have to complete the strategic case study. So number 1, your professional qualification. Number 2, based on your educational qualification. So for instance, if you your exemptions will be based on your diploma or degree. And then thirdly, your experience and roles. You will get exemptions based on relevant experience. Exemptions based on your professional qualification is where you apply for exemptions based on your membership. Like I said, SICA, ICB, or ACCA, for instance. The educational qualifications is where you apply for exemptions based on your diploma or degree, like a BCom from UNISA. Now, the exemptions can be a bit tricky, and this is where IBTC comes in. We have a direct relationship with the CIMA exemption team and can assist you on an individual basis. Now, your Wahid, who's in the chat, will be your best friend. you're more than welcome to email him if you need help with finding out your starting level. With immediate effect, CIMA has changed the exemption granting based on the following criteria. A BCom accounting science, or BCom financial, can start on the management level if their qualification is no older than 11 years. Then CIMA has a special relationship with the Big Five, we call Stellenbosch, KZN, UNISA, UJ, and Northwest have a special arrangement with CIMA, and you may be able to start on the management level if your qualification is older than 11 years, but that is done on a case-by-case status. So again, Wahid will be your best friend and can help you. What has not changed, however, is a plain BCom without the words finance, accounting science in the name will start on operational level, irrespective of what subject you have in your transcript. So if you have any doubt, please email your certificate and transcripts you can email them directly to Wahid, or if you forget, it's info@ibtc.co.za with the subject heading exemptions, and Wahid will look out for those emails. Just a reminder that you will get the same exemptions and start at the same starting point, whether you are doing the traditional route or FLP. Now, the third way that you can get exemptions is based on your experience and level of your role. It's an expedited pathway that gives you entry into one of the three programs. The elite academic program is if you have a PhD in accounting or business and more than 6 years teaching or research experience, you will just have to complete the strategic case study. The CFO program, this is for CFOs, CEOs, executives with more than 10 years experience in accounting, finance, and business. On the CFO program, you also only have to complete the strategic case study. And finally, the Senior Executives Program, if you are a senior manager with more than 6 years experience in accounting, finance, and business, you are eligible for this program and you will start at the management case study. The other pathways that existed before the new exemptions process technically no longer exist, like the CIMA Gateway. On a rare occasion, the SA exemption team may consider you for an old pathway on a case-by-case basis.
So a little word of warning. If you have been exempted from a subject, CIMA assumes that your knowledge is good enough to have passed that subject and that you understand it and you understand the content in the way that CIMA has presented it. Before you accept all your exemptions, our advice is to go through the syllabus document, highlight the areas you don't feel comfortable with. If it's more than 40 to 50%, we would suggest you don't take that exemption. Rather spend sufficient time recapping that subject. Also, your case study exam requires thorough knowledge of E, P, and F subjects in that particular level. Make sure that there are no knowledge gaps. We recommend that you recap these subjects before starting your case study preparation, and we have courses specifically for students who are exempted based on experience and level. Here we include the E, P, and F study material to help ensure that there are no gaps.
Now, it's important to note when you apply for exemptions, on the CIMA website, they have a handy exemption calculator. We find it's about 95% correct, but ultimately it has to be approved by the South African exemption team. But if you're in any doubt, shout for Wahid. So, in terms of registration, if you're a new student and you want to register with CIMA, you first have to create a profile or log in onto the website. So your first job is to register an account on the CIMA website. The next step will be to register as a new student. This is a bit tricky. We actually counted, I think there are about 23 steps before you register. But again, we can help you at IBTC. If you are deciding to go the traditional route, you will have to pay a registration fee and the first exam fee. They force you, so it'll either be E1, E2, or E3. But on the FLP, you just have to register. So it can become a bit tricky, and just remember the exam token on the traditional level is only valid for 1 year. In fact, all exam fees are valid for a year, as before it was valid for 2 years.
Wow, Vanessa, that's very complicated and a lot to remember.
Absolutely. So when in doubt, ask for Head. You can email him directly or email info@ibtc.co.za. We're now going to look at the various study methods, how to prepare for your exams at IBTC. So we're going to start off with the traditional level or the PQ. You have the option of attending virtual classes, which are live Zoom classes, doing an online course, or doing supported home study with us. Our virtual classes are going to be starting at the end of July. And to hit the ground running, you can enroll now and study a few chapters prior to class. So now is a good time to sign up for 1 or 2 subjects. Included in your class package is 13 live online classes with top lecturers like Muzi, 1 day a week. You also have access to our online hub where you'll find pre-recorded UK lectures. They have 100% syllabus coverage. It's like getting 2 lecturers for the price of 1. We also have an online course starting every month for every subject. You get your hard copy study material sent to you via courier, and you get access to the online study material, video lectures, and tests. But note that you are on a schedule. There's a fixed start date, a cohort of fast-paced actions you need to do, but you will be exam ready in 9 to 12 weeks, guaranteed. Follow the steps and fail, then you can come back for free. It's our pass assured promise. On our Home Study Plus package, we deliver the books and other support material to your home and assign a home study support person to look after you and track your progress. The kicker is that we also give you access to the online video lectures. So it's like being in class, but in your pajamas. Some other cool things you need to know: these pre-recorded lectures are recordings of the UK's best lecturers, those with the consistently high pass rates. There are also revision videos, which are much shorter than the lecture videos, ideal for those 2 weeks before the exams. I hope this clarifies how our different PQ courses work.
Yes, it does. It's actually a very nice way of explaining it, Vanessa.
Thank you. So staying with the traditional route, let's look how to plan your studies. So for instance, if you're preparing to write an OT subject and you want to come to our classes, we recommend that you do maximum 2 subjects at a time. In this example, you are studying E1, but it might as well be BA1 or P2 or F3. And you're attending virtual classes on a Saturday. You come to class once a week for each of your subjects. I believe you never walk into a class cold. The session before class you use to prepare for the upcoming class, then you attend class, and the following study session you consolidate and learn the work. You do this for 8 to 12 weeks. Some subjects are a bit harder. Maybe the book is just fatter or you're less familiar with the content. Then you can add another study session on a Sunday, for instance, to ramp up your study hours. What this aims to illustrate is how you plan your studies firstly, but it also tries to show you cannot really fit in a 3rd subject, especially if you're working a job from 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or whatever. First time often makes the mistakes of taking too many subjects at once and then ends up failing them all. Now, I'm not saying this can't be done. Some students have successfully studied 3 subjects at once. It's just knowing what you're in for and being able to make the commitment.
Let's look at how you'll prepare for your case study exam. It doesn't matter if you're doing the traditional route or the FLP route. Both routes come together at case study. My best advice is to always try and attend our case study exam prep classes. We have an almost 100% pass rate, and we only need 4 days to get you ready for your exam. Okay, so here's how we would do it. We recommend 100 hours to prepare for your case study exam. This, of course, is heavily dependent on how familiar you are with the underlying E, P, and F subjects. The most important thing to know is that the case study exam draws heavily on your EP and F knowledge. But say you've completed your EP and F exams in the last 12 to 18 months, the information is still quite fresh and it'll come back quite quickly. Then you typically don't need more than 100 hours to prep for your case study exam. In week 1 and 2, you'll want to revise your EP and F subjects, ensuring that there are no knowledge gaps. Then you read through the pre-seen in quite a bit of detail in preparation for your first class. Week 3 and 5, you'll spend 2 weekends on our exam prep classes. Here we analyze the case study line by line, underlining, making notes in the margins, referring to some of the models, such as your SWOT, Mandalow's matrix, Ansoff, Porter's value chain, McKinsey 7S's, all of those, and we'll do a mock exam. During weeks 4 and 6, you'll spend 2 weekends on question practice, filling in any knowledge gaps that were exposed in class and doing a final mock exam. And that's how we would do it.
That's great. Thank you, Muzi. Let's look at your study option if you want to study FLP. With FLP, you don't have the option of doing your own thing. To do the FLP route, where you only have to do 3 exams to qualify, you have to study on the CIMA FLP platform. All the study material for all the levels are on the platform, and all the prep material for all the case studies are on this platform. You simply have to buy a subscription and work through the competency questions as quickly as possible to unlock the next case study. If you work really fast and you pass your case study first every time, you can work through all levels in little as a year, although most students starting at the operational level will do it over 2 years. As I mentioned earlier, you have to buy your FLP subscription through an accredited tuition provider like ourselves. We sell it in a standard and premium package. Standard is buying access onto the FLP platform. As standard, FLP always includes the following: registration and subscription fees, which can be for 1, 2, or 3 years. It includes your online material and questions, a case study exam prep material and mocks, IBTC tutor access, and 6 exam tokens, 2 per level. FLP Premium came about because students asked us if they can attend our case study exam prep classes. So we've included 6 opportunities to attend our classes, 2 per level. Now, international research has shown that the operational level of CIMA has the lowest pass rate, because this level is very technical compared to the management and the strategic level. Also, it's the first time you'll be doing a case study, so you may find this daunting at first. We have taken this into consideration, and we had launched earlier in the year FLP Skill Up. FLP Skill Up is a product extension to the FLP program designed to improve student pass rates through additional focused learning support. We have Skill Up per level. So the FLP Skill Up is very intense for the operational level, where there are 9 competency-based classes covering key topics from each of the 10 competencies, designed to ensure students are fully equipped for the operational case study. Each class is 2.5 hours and is held weekly over a 9-week period, leading up to the case study exam prep classes. The program runs 4 times a year and takes 3 months to complete per cycle. Start dates are March, June, September, and December each year. Students may only join at the start of a cycle and cannot join late, but may opt to start in the next available session. Still have to complete competencies on the portal, but classes will prep them for the case study and make sure they have a thorough technical foundation of the competencies. Then we have developed FLP Skill Up for the management and the strategic level, not as intense because it's less technical. The product extension includes access to pre-recorded lecture videos for the pillar subjects and mock exams. So, for example, P2 is the hardest subject in CIMA. If you're battling with a particular section, you can go to the lecture on this, listen to it, and improve your knowledge for the case study exam. There are also mock exams for each pillar, which you can do, which gives you the confidence you really know the subject. Don't be alarmed if you fail the mock exam. It will highlight the areas you need to improve on, and you can brush up on the FLP portal. Finally, let's have a look at how to plan your FLP studies. If you are starting on the management level, most students buy the 1-year subscription where you can comfortably do 2 levels in 1 year. Let me show you how. If you started on the management level, and for instance, the next ideal start date would be the first week of September, then your first case study opportunity will be in November. But you might not be ready to sit your first case study in November. So you can attempt it knowing that you can redo it if necessary in February next year. CIMA recommends 75 hours study time for each of the EP and F subjects. So you can aim for November, but otherwise write in February next year. Then you can do E3, P3, F3 in preparation for May. And worst case scenario, you rewrite in August. So that's 2 levels in a year with a little bit to spare. Now, as I said, there are ideal start dates to maximize your case study period. So talk to us. When is the next ideal start date? If you are taking a 2-year FLP starting at the operational level, then it doesn't really matter. But for a 1-year FLP, it is crucial. Muzi, can you talk us through some financial options for the students?
Thanks, Vanessa. So we have 2 finance options for you. If you're on the traditional route, you'll buy 1 or 2 subjects at a time. And these range from 4,000 Rand to 8,000 Rand, depending on the subject and the study method. You can use IBTC's payment plan to pay for your studies, which is interest-free. You pay a small deposit and the rest you put on a debit order for 4 months. This, unfortunately, is not available for FLP. The FLP route is substantially more expensive, at 62,500 to 160,000 Rand. But remember that you can get through the full qualification in 2 years. To pay for your FLP studies, you can take out a study loan with our loan partner, Student Hero. You can pay over a longer period than you can with IBTC, which reduces the monthly installments. They use an easy desktop application with quick turnaround as well.
We also have an open day experience page. We will send the link towards the end of next week to everybody who has attended today. Here you can watch today's presentation. There are also videos on different topics like how to complete a level in a year or winning a case study. You can also take a look at what our online portal video lectures and online tests look like, or what our online courses look like. There's lots to see here. I'll just ask one of my colleagues to post the chat link in the chat. Just before we end,